This is the Hayward TigerShark Quick Clean Robotic Pool Cleaner. It turns pool cleaning from a sweaty, time-sucking chore into a mostly hands-off routine that actually works. I see this as a self-contained cleaner for in-ground pool owners who want reliable coverage without messing with hoses or their pool pump. If you have a medium to large pool with regular leaves, dust, and the occasional post-party mess, and you want to press one button and walk away, this fits that kind of use perfectly. The design is all function. The body is a solid, boxy shape with rugged treads that grip the pool surface. It is not flashy, and I like that. It is about the size of a small carry-on, roughly around 20 inches long, and it feels substantial in the hands at a little over 20 pounds. The weight is the trade-off for the sturdy build and the onboard pump. There is a simple power supply box with a single touch control. The cable is long enough for a typical backyard pool, about 55 feet, and it has enough flexibility to let the robot climb walls and reach corners without feeling stiff. The filter is a cartridge inside the unit. I do not have to fiddle with bags. I just pull the cartridge out, rinse it with the garden hose, and click it back in. Setting it up took me less time than dragging out my manual vacuum. I plug the power supply into a regular outdoor outlet, connect the cable, and lower the cleaner into the water. I let the air bubbles escape, hit the touch button, and that is it. There are two modes that matter in daily life. Quick Clean wraps up in about 90 minutes. The full clean runs for around 4 hours. For day-to-day upkeep, I usually go with the quick cycle. When the pool has gone through a busy weekend or a storm, I set it for the full run. When the cycle ends, the unit shuts off on its own. I do not babysit it, and I appreciate that it does not rely on my pool filter or suction line. It is a closed system, so my pool pump can stay off while the robot works. Performance is where I was most skeptical, and it is what won me over. The onboard pump, powered by a 24-volt motor, has strong suction without sounding loud or feeling wasteful. It does not just push debris around. It pulls in leaves, acorns, fine sand, and that dusty film that makes a clean pool look a little dull. The brushes scrub the floor, climb the walls, and actually reach the waterline where sunscreen residue and pollen tend to hang out. Coverage looks methodical. It will sometimes repeat a path, but the end result is consistent. I step out after a cycle and the bottom looks crisp, and the water looks clearer because the fine stuff is trapped in the cartridge instead of circulating. I tested it through a few real pool days. After a windy afternoon that filled the shallow end with oak leaves and pollen, the quick cycle brought the pool back to presentable. I still had to net a couple of floating leaves, but the floor was clean, including around the main drain and the coves. After a weekend with a lot of swimmers, grass clippings, and a little sand tracked in, I ran the longer cycle. It pulled up all the visible debris and a surprising amount of fine grit. I could see it in the filter when I rinsed it out. My pool has a mix of smooth tile and vinyl. The treads kept traction on both. It climbed the walls reliably and did a pass along the waterline without losing suction. It handled curves better than I expected. It nudged into the bay-shaped corners and backed out cleanly. I also paid attention to problem spots. Steps are a challenge for any cleaner, and this one is no exception. It will hit the lower steps and give them a scrub, but it does not always sit perfectly on the top step. I still give the steps a quick brush once a week, which takes a few minutes. The main drain can be a trap for some machines. In my pool, there was one moment where the cleaner paused over the drain for a bit, then freed itself and moved on. That is normal behavior, and it did not require me to intervene. Usability is strong, with a couple of practical quirks. The cable can twist over several cycles if you set it down the same way every time. I avoid that by laying the cable straight out and giving it a gentle untwist now and then. There is no swivel at the base, so a little attention here keeps it from tangling. Lifting the unit out of the pool takes a steady pull. It is over 20 pounds, and when you bring it up, there is water trapped inside. I let it hang for a few seconds against the wall to drain before I lift it the rest of the way. That small pause makes it much easier on the arms. The filter rinse is quick. I pop the cartridge out, hose it down until the water runs clear, and put it back in. No tools, no mess. I store the unit and the power supply in a shaded, dry spot to keep the plastic and seals in good shape. A specific use case that has become a routine for me is the pre-party cleanup. If friends are coming over on a Saturday afternoon, I drop the cleaner in during the late morning, set quick clean, and leave it alone. In about an hour and a half, I pull it out, rinse the cartridge, and the pool looks fresh. When the weekend brings 2 or 3 swim days in a row, I run the longer cycle on Sunday evening. I wake up Monday to a pool that looks like it was skimmed and vacuumed by hand. There are a few touches here that actually improve the experience. The quick clean mode is not a gimmick. It saves time on days when the pool is mostly fine, but needs a reset. The fact that it is self-contained means my pool filter does not clog up with fine debris, and my pump does not get tied up just to vacuum the floor. The motor is efficient. I have not noticed a jump in my electric bill, even with regular use during peak season. The automatic shutoff is a small detail that matters. I do not worry about it running endlessly if I get distracted. I appreciate that the controls are simple. There is one button, and it does what it says. There is no phone control and no fancy scheduling, which some people might miss, but it also means there is very little to fiddle with or troubleshoot. Day-to-day reliability has been solid. I run the cleaner multiple times a week during pollen season and less frequently when the water is quiet, and it has kept the pool looking sharp without drama. The cartridge design encourages good habits. Because it is easy to rinse, I actually keep up with it, and that keeps suction strong. As for downsides, the weight can be a factor if you have shoulder issues, so letting it drain before lifting is important. The cable will need occasional detangling. Steps still benefit from a quick manual brush. Those are trade-offs I am comfortable with because the overall time I spend on maintenance has dropped a lot. If you have an in-ground pool up to about 20 by 40 feet, and you want something that you can drop in, press a button, and trust to do a thorough job, this is a strong choice. It is for people who value low effort, consistent cleaning, and a design that does not depend on their pool equipment. If you want a very light cleaner with phone control or a built-in caddy, you may want to look elsewhere. For me, the Hayward TigerShark Quick Clean has replaced the routine of dragging hoses and wrestling with suction lines, and it has made owning a pool feel closer to how it should feel. I spend more time swimming and less time chasing leaves and grit. I will leave the details about how I use it in the comments along with a few care tips. The short version is simple. Rinse the filter after every run, give the cable a gentle untwist now and then, store it in the shade, and let it drain before lifting. Do that, and it just works. I'll leave the details about the Hayward W3 RC9990 Cub TigerShark QC Robotic Pool Cleaner in the comments for you to check out. See you in the next video.